Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Thank you for coming to this session. My name is Hui Li, so you can call me Li Hui in Chinese. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Politics and the Public Administration. And I'm also the director of a PPA program, so I know a lot of the programs. And feel free to ask me questions later, either in Cantonese or in English, or in Mandarin as well. I can speak Mandarin, but not Cantonese, but I'm trying to learn more about Cantonese. So maybe just a little bit background of myself. So I actually did my undergrad and the master's degree in Beijing. And then I went to the US to pursue my doctoral degree. So I was very lucky. I got full scholarship from the University of Southern California, which is in Los Angeles. And the scholarship was 70,000 US dollars per year for 4 years. So if you do the math, that's about 2 million Hong Kong dollars for my doctoral study. And then, yeah, I was very lucky. And my parents were very excited about it. And then after that, I started as an assistant professor at the University of Central Florida in the US, so which is in Orlando. And then I worked there for 2-3 years and moved to Hong Kong in 2018. So I have been here with the department and with this university for 5 years. And I very much enjoyed my stay here. So over the past 5 years, I have taught, worked with, and communicated with a lot of undergraduate students in our program or in the faculty. I'm also sitting on the faculty admission committee and also the faculty review board, which deal with undergraduate issues. So I feel that although sometimes we undergrad students have some confusion in terms of what to study and where to go after graduation, but after 4 years of study, I have seen that a lot of students were able to have their bright future ahead of them. So I'm just very excited here today to share with you what politics and public administration is and what you can do out of it after getting the degree. So my brief talk will cover 3 different aspects: who we are, what we do, and the career opportunities. So the Politics and Public Administration Department is actually the founding department in the Faculty of Social Sciences. And our ranking has been always one of the top in Asia and worldwide. We have faculty members from across the world, as you can see later. And we have a lot of students choosing to study politics and public administration. So what is politics and public administration? This is actually not an easy question to answer. So to me, politics and public administration is the study of theory and practice of government and politics at different levels, including local level, say Hong Kong politics, or including state, national, and international levels. So we can develop a better understanding of political ideologies, the institutions, the government policies, citizen behavior, or the interactions between the government and citizens after getting a degree from politics and public administration. You would also understand better why there's war, how to do diplomacy, what kind of strategies are better. So our courses not only have theoretical richness, but also have analytical rigor. And we also want to emphasize that a lot of skills and knowledge that we learn from the program is also very practical. So in the department, we have 2 undergraduate programs. One is the Bachelor of Social Sciences with a major or minor in politics and public administration. So the other program is the Government and Law program. Some of you may have already been to the G-Law program admission talk. So our department has both programs. And both are very popular. A lot of students who are admitted to the social science faculty decided to choose the politics and public administration discipline because they feel like it's very helpful for them to make sense of a lot of social issues and to have practical skills to learn. So in the department, we have 4 subfields. Political theory and ethics, which is looking at human nature, moral purposes of government. So we have international relations. Actually, in these days, with the tension between the US and China, international relations is a very popular topic in these days. So we look at the interactions among the government and international entities. So we look at topics related to international finance, development, war, and trade. So the third subfield we have is comparative politics. So we have faculty members who are in the comparative politics stream, and they look at the comparisons and the similarities or differences between different institutions or different countries in terms of their development or governance. So the last subfield is public administration. So I am actually in the public administration stream, and I'm teaching a course, Introduction to Public Administration. So in this stream, we are looking at government functions, government policy making, government reforms, and policy processes. So this one is actually very practical. A lot of students who want to work in the government or choose a career of public services find public administration stream very helpful. So in addition to the 4 substantive streams, we also want to emphasize or equip the students with some methodological knowledge and skills. So political methodology is something that we have been trying to strengthen in these years. So we teach students about statistics or research methods, and also data sciences with the new technology like AI, big data. We have a faculty member who is an expert in big data and data sciences. And these are the 2 slides that he actually shared with me before the session. One of his projects looks at political ideology and ideas on public forums. So this is the data and picture that he did using data from Douban, a public forum in China. So some of you may be very concerned, saying like, oh, I'm not good at math. Is it too difficult for me to do this methods course, right? I would say, don't worry, I'm with you, because I was not very good at math either when I was a student. But for me, I think the courses that we offer, the methods course that we offer here are a little bit different from the econ, statistics, or econometrics courses you take from the business faculty. So for us, you do not have to memorize or to derive the formulas or to remember the statistics. Instead, we emphasize a lot about the application. So for me, I do not know how to do the formula, but I know how to understand the statistical concepts, and I know how to use the programs to run regression and some other fancy methods. And also I know how to interpret the results, and that would be sufficient. So here are some of the faculty members that I wanted to highlight. We actually have faculty members from across the world, including the US, Singapore, Hong Kong, and mainland China. They have obtained their PhD degrees from renowned universities in the world, such as Harvard, MIT, UCLA, Northwestern, Indiana, and I got my degree from USC. I should have put my picture here too, right? I'm as awesome as them, right? but they have won awards like research awards, teaching awards, knowledge exchange awards. I've been trying to get that in the process. So in addition to the full-time faculty members, which we have about 15 full-time faculty members, we also have some practitioners teaching for us. So for example, here, this is Professor Alan Lai. He used to be the commissioner of ICAC, and he also used to be the ombudsman. So he is teaching public administration courses for us in the department. And here is Professor George Chen. He used to be the senior policy leader for Meta or Facebook. And now he's teaching courses for us related to digital governance and artificial intelligence. His course is very popular. So because we have a diverse different subfields in the department, we also have different faculty members with different backgrounds. For me, I study NGOs and the government relations. I also look at the relationship between citizens and the government. So we actually explore a lot of different questions, but here are just some examples of the questions that we look at. So for example, we have faculty members who study why countries fight wars. And we also look at questions like, why are some countries rich and others are poor? How do you act ethically in politics? And how do government make policies or implement policies? Policy formulation and implementation is an important area in our public administration stream. For me, I also look at how different sectors, including the government, the business, and the nonprofit sector can work collaboratively to solve critical social problems. So, as I said, we have two different programs, PPA and then G-Law. So the requirements for the two programs are a little bit different. But in general, when you are in year one, you take one politics and public administration course, which is making sense of politics. So in this course, you get to understand, okay, what are the basic questions that we look at in politics? And then in your second year, you take some advanced courses related to what I say, the two gateway courses, because we had four, right? Introduction to comparative politics, to international relations, to political theory, and to public administration. So based on your interest, you can take two of them, and then you can also take the research methods course in PPA. And in year three, you usually are taking a lot of elective courses depending on your interest. For example, if you are more interested in comparative politics, then you would be taking courses related to, say, contemporary China studies kind of course, or foreign policy making in the US, or China, Southeast Asia relations. So these are the courses that you can choose to take. I am teaching an elective course related to nonprofit management. So in my class, I ask my students to think about a nonprofit startup, to think about what kind of social issues they're interested in, and then build a nonprofit out of it. So in year four, students are usually doing their capstone courses or research internship. Actually, a lot of students also choose to do exchange abroad. We have agreement with over 100 universities in the world. So a lot of students, they come to Hong Kong U to study, and our students go abroad to study. For example, in the past, we have students going to Cambridge, going to the US, or going to the Europe universities to study. And then students are also doing social innovation and global citizenship internship as well. So just to give you a sense of a course that we teach. So as I said, I am teaching Introduction to Public Administration to year two students mostly. So I told my students that public administration is the study of government's decision-making. So in the course, we talk about who makes the decision, what are the best way to make the decisions, and what are the consequences of implementing a specific decision. And the consequences can be unintended consequences or something that you have expected the outcome. So in the course, we also talk about the structure of the government, the different agencies, their functions. We also look at government reforms, the employees who work in the government, and the leadership in the government, and also how government can demonstrate accountability and strengthen their performance. So one example that I used about government decision-making is COVID control policies. So this is the table that try to summarize all the different strategies that governments worldwide are adopting in response to COVID-19. So you can see there are 3 different lines of policy. One is about containment and closure. One is about economic development, and the last one is about health systems. So you can actually look at all these different indicators, and then scholars in the UK, they came up with this stringency index in terms of how stringent the government has been responding to COVID-19. So a small activity that I asked my students to do in my very first class is to think about pizza, because we all love pizza. But you probably have never thought about, well, what agencies are involved in administering, implementing, and regulating the pizzas we are eating, right? There are so many different agencies that are involved, and then we have a small discussion about it in a class. So these are the posters that some students did from another course, which is about development aid. So you can see we have very different assessment methods. Sometimes we have debates in the class in terms of how foreign policies should be made. And we also have this kind of presentations in the end. And this is the poster presentation that students have. They present their research that they have done throughout the semester, and then they present the research output, the poster, to students and to faculty members in the department. Okay, so now you have a little bit of sense of what we do in the politics and administration department. And then a critical question to many of you, especially parents, right, is what can they do after getting the degree, right? How does PPA prepare me for the future? I do not want to be a politician, or I do not want to be working in the government. Does it mean that I should not study politics and public administration? And the answer is no. So I think for PPA, we have emphasized a lot about rigor, theoretical rigor and analytical rigor, right? So you learn how to analyze different political and social issues. But I also wanted to emphasize that the skills, the knowledge that we learn can also be transferable. So you can actually apply what we learn to many different contexts. So we have students who were able to get a job in, say, HSBC, or in consulting firms, or in the banking sector, in the government, or some of them, they became teachers like me who wanted to, they are more interested in doing research, and then they decided to pursue postgraduate and even doctoral studies after graduation. So in the program, we wanted to emphasize 3 critical skills. And the first one is critical thinking. You know, with the advancement of AI, learning all the facts is not enough. So we wanted our students to have critical thinking skills. Once a very famous person said, the very essence of college education is not the learning of many facts, but the training of the mind to think. So we wanted our students to have critical thinking skills. And the second important skill that we want our students to have is communication, including verbal and written communication. So for example, I ask my students to write a policy memo in my class. So a policy memo is something that you present to policy makers in a very concise and very thorough, comprehensive analysis. And they learn this written skills. And also the methods training that I talked about is also very important. So our students were able to have very diverse career paths, including working in the government, in the law profession, in business, in policy analysis, in consulting, and in university or teaching positions. So students also have their own student associations. So for G-Law, we have the G-Law Association, and for PPA major, we have our Public Politics and Public Administration Association, and they organize a lot of different events. So the very last slide. To me, I think college is a maze. There are a lot of different elements floating on this campus. You can see we have teaching, we have research, we have exchange opportunities, we have internships, well, we also have student associations. And for different students, I think these components are combined very differently. But I see that till the very end, many of them are able to go to the same destination, which is bright future and happiness, right? It's something that we all want to have. So we as teachers want to provide the most support that we can have. And we welcome you to join us as our future students. So now we wanted our two students to share with us their experience learning in the department.
So good morning and welcome to HKU. Thank you for being here today. And a special thank you to Professor Lee, Professor Lee and Samantha for giving me this opportunity to share my experience to all of you. So let's start. Let me start by introducing myself first. My name is Sarah, and I'm a year 4 social science student, and I'm majoring in politics and public administrations. Also have a minor in criminology. Apart from my study, I'm currently hold positions of current affairs secretaries in politics and public administrations associations. So in the next 8 to 10 minutes, I will touch upon various aspects, including my learning experience, involvement in student associations, participation in department, faculty, or university level events, internship, and my plan after graduations. So first, let's talk about my learning experience. Like in my opinions, Hong Kong U are mainly revolve around courses and assessments, which occasionally involve exam. Speaking of the course, for those of you who may not be familiar with the university teaching methods, there are primarily two types, which is lectures and tutorials. During lectures, we usually have about 100 students, and the professor will deliver the content. In the contrast, tutorials are smaller with around 10 to a dozen students for fostering more detailed discussions, and often is led by our classmates. So to be honest, speaking in front of others has already made me quite nervous, just like what I feel right now. So when I first started university, I found it challenging to adapt to this learning and the teaching methods. It may sound insincere for me to say that I completely overcame these kinds of difficulties. However, over time, I gradually discovered the fascinating aspects of this type of learning. Lectures provide us with a valuable insight and serve as an introduction to a new topic, while tutorials require us to dive deeper into the subject. Engaging in discussions has proven to extremely beneficial for learning and critical thinking, as it strengthened my own arguments and encouraged me to consider opposition's viewpoint. It's always find surprise and enlightening to listen to different perspectives during the discussions. So besides, when it comes to assessments, the university employ a diverse range of methods, including videos, poster, Wikipedia entries, and the most common type is writing an essay. So what truly stands out to me is it emphasizes on fostering self-learning abilities. These assessments go beyond simply evaluating our knowledge or skill. They encourage research, critical thinking, and continuous learning. Each assessment format presents a unique opportunity to explore a subject in depth, allowing us to into the different resources, conduct through the research, and develop a comprehensive understanding. It's not just about digesting the information, but rather about actively engaging with the materials, analyzing different perspectives, and forming well-supported research assets. Moving on to the involvement in student associations. I'm sure many of you have heard about this unique culture at HKU that have been harming the image of all of our associations. Personally, I don't have a strong opinions on these issues as I have never experienced it myself. I can't say whether it's completely false or entirely true, but from what I see in terms of the association instead of whole, it's not as common as it used to be, at least not within our faculty associations. So as I mentioned before, I'm a current affairs secretary of the Politics and Public Administrations Association, which is PPAA. While learning is undoubtedly crucial for students, but I strongly believe that participating in extracurricular activities holds significant meaning as well. Being a part of PPAA has been a wonderful opportunity for personal growth and development. It has allowed me to broaden my sight beyond the classroom by connecting with seniors and outstanding alumni. So in the past few months, we have organized various aspects and activities that have made a positive impact. For instance, we held our academic seminar where we invite guest speakers to join us and engage in discussions. We also organize a staff-student consultative meeting to collect student opinions and confirm tenure department in order to establish a stronger connection between our student and the department. Also, our orientation series has played a crucial role in helping freshmen integrate and adapt to the university life and so on. So joining student association isn't just about serving the members. As a committee's member, besides cultivating leadership, communications, teamwork, and time management skills, which are commonly associated with such role, the most valuable aspect, in my opinion, is the opportunity it provides. Like, for instance, connecting with the professor, like connect with other companies and other universities. Or even like today, I have the chance to speak here. Most importantly, it allows us to represent the PPAA, to represent our department. It compels us to step out of our comfort zones. So next, I will during the summer semester, I complete my internship as a part of my course. I'm grateful for the support provided by our faculties in securing internship. They have a user-friendly system that displays various job positions offered by community partners across the 7 different categories. The applications process is similar to a regular internship applications, involving submissions of CV, personal statements, and interviews. Within this system, my academic tutor was able to connect with my supervisor at the internship company. The tutor also visits us twice to ensure that we were performing well and meeting the learning objective of the internship. So I do my internship at PORI, which is a Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute, and I gain valuable skill and knowledge during my time there. For instance, I learned video editing and even had a couple of my edited video feature on their social media platform. I also have the opportunity to moderate a press conference, which provides me with a valuable insight to the press conference mediations. Additionally, I was involved in creating social media posts under their guidance. In the internship, it's not only learning about the technical skill, but also the most valuable feature is gaining an understanding of the real-world working environment, which is not something that can be learned in the classroom through the classroom educations alone. As a final year student, I have had numerous questions and uncertainties about my futures. During my internship, I have the opportunity to gain a valuable insight into the realities of working in an office and dealing with research-related tasks. So when discussing my plan after graduations, it's interesting that given my majors, my friends and families often ask if I consider my career in politics. These questions come up frequently. Many assume that social science students have limited career path. If I'm not aiming for a political career, one may wonder why I choose to majoring in politics in the first place. Thinking back to the times I chose my majors, I didn't think too much about my future career, actually. I was concerned that I may end up in a job that didn't interest me in the future. So now that I have the opportunity to study what I'm passionate about, why should I let this opportunity go? Over these 4 years, I've realized that even though studying politics and public administration doesn't lead to a specific career significance, but it opened doors in many areas. It forced my critical thinking, problem-solving abilities, and a self-learning skill. The way I perceive things has transferred significantly during the past years. Like many final year students, I'm faced with the crucial decisions of whether to continue my study or enter to the workforce. Unfortunately, I find myself stuck in the very first initial crossroad. While I'm interested in further study, particularly to deepen my knowledge and refine my skill as a researcher, the path to achieving this seems challenging. Despite ongoing effort, a lack of confidence in my ability to success, leading me to explore alternative ways. The prospect of the career as a civil servant contributing to the public service and governance has captured my attention, promoting me to make some initial preparations for related examinations. Also, I find that the dynamic realm in the public relations is interesting. So maybe I'll consider become a publicist in the future. So lastly, in my perspective, what is university? University is a platform for both personal and professional growth. While I recognize the significance of academic achievement, I also appreciate the chance to broaden my experience and discover potential pathway for my futures. Like Hong Kong, you have offered us an invaluable opportunity for exploring our interests through academic research, internship, exchange program, and various other activities. I feel glad to be a student here and fully embrace the opportunity it provides. So that's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Shara, for comprehensive sharing. Some brief introductions about myself. I am Masaki, and I am a Year 2 Governments and Laws student. I'm also part of the Governments and Laws Committee, which is the flagship student community for our program. I'll try to divide my sharing into 2 parts. The first part would be about how I learn about my student association experience, and the second part will be on the whole experience. So about my student association experience, I would say that Government and Laws Committee is a great way for me to learn about politics outside classroom. So we've talked a lot about what the programs offer and what we can learn from lectures and tutorials and stuff. But also, I believe that through student communities, we can learn politics outside the classroom. In the case of Government and Law Committee, let me divide it into 2 parts. For the law part, we generally cover international law. In that, we have events such as the Global Dialogue Sapientia, where we invite eminent judges and also politicians overseas to talk about certain issues through Zoom. Some examples would be we've invited Lord Hoffman and also Lord Neuberger to talk about the rule of law, the principle of rule of law. And we've also organized a global forum where we discussed the issues of Brexit. So that would be the law part of things. And for the politics, for the public administration part of things, we also organize institution visits, such as the Court of Final Appeal and also the ombudsman, where we get to talk with the staff and officials there and to learn about how their organization work. So that would be my take on how student organizations can help us learn more about politics. And about hall life, I'm not sure what most of you are sitting here think about HKU halls, but probably you've heard of the unique hall culture we have in HKU. So my experience in hall life in HKU is a bit different in the sense that I'm not living in the traditional halls that you guys probably think of or heard of. I live in the Jockey Club third Village, which is a bit different from the usual halls in that we have less compulsory activities joining. So in case you guys don't know, the usual hall experience would be that they really encourage students to actively participate in activities and joining sports or cultural teams, which is very fun for lots of people. But at the same time, a lot of people might feel pressured because they feel like they have to join those activities in order to stay within the community. But for my hall, the Jockey Club Third Village, is a bit different in the sense that we won't force you to, or we won't strongly encourage you to join those sorts of activities. Instead, we have a more relaxed attitude. So we still have a lot of different activities, but we can focus more on our studies or other priorities if we want to. Of course, this doesn't limit our whole life, as we still have a lot of activities. In my case, I live in Shenheng College, which we have many sports activities where, for example, I recently just joined the Dragon Boat and activities where I get to participate and try out dragon boating. We also have other activities such as cooking club and also music club and stuff. So my take would be that if you all might be worried about hall life in HKU, do not worry, because there's plenty of choices for you to choose from, and there's also be some sort of way that you can find what fits you. So that would be the end of my sharing.